Alright, so we back with another video. Today we're going to be doing an NFL mock draft. Well, I'm going to be honest. The first one, but the other one I did with TJB, bro. And you know, sometimes you just do things and you don't even realize. We did a whole first round, hour-long video. And it had no audio because I had turned off my PC. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and you probably don't understand what I mean by that, but I ain't finna explain it. But yeah, so this is the second one, but we went kind of crazy on there. We was getting knowledge, bouncing off each other. So we're going to do our first one solo. Now, I'm going to get him on some more of the future ones, but you know what I'm saying? Schedules, conflicts, it's going to be hard to get them every single time, but we're going to do something together for sure. So if y'all do want more, make sure to like the video. And I'm going to do this like I did last year. By the time we got to the draft last year, we did 7 rounds. Now, I wasn't as knowledgeable in that full 7 rounds as I hoped. By the time it got past 4, it was just kind of, you know what I'm saying, we just started drafting certain people. But first 4, we was pretty good. We was pretty good until we got to round 5, to be honest. So hopefully we can get around to even further knowledge this year. And I'm already knowing it's probably going to happen because this is an interesting draft class, because I do think at some points it's better than last year and some points it is worse. But it's a solid, pretty draft class. If y'all do want more, though, like the video. Hope y'all like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Further ado, let's hop into it. Alright, so we hopping into it. Like I said, I got a little bit of knowledge of how we're going to do this. Now, this is the updated draft order. We got the Tennessee Titans picking 1. They have the worst record in the league. Okay, so Tennessee Titans picking 1. I do think that quarterback is not really a pick that we should be picking, because you probably gave up on Will Levis a little too early. You're looking at Cam Ward, who was supposed to be a great prospect, but he had his flaws. I kind of looked at Cam Ward, similar to Caleb, where they were, I don't think Cam had the same amount of hype as Caleb, but like they were very similar when it comes to like that arm talent, but they just had their flaws that people didn't really care too much about, because it was just, they were automatically going 1. It was really a hot take to have Dart 2, because I guess the Shador Colorado fan base was just crazy last year, but Dart 2 wasn't really that crazy to me. And it really was more so, I didn't even know if Shador was 3 for me. I had Shug above him, and I had Shador 4. Now, did I have Shador not getting picked in the 2nd round? Different. I thought he was a late 1st, high 2nd, personally. And I had Dart as like a top 10 pick guy, personally. And I had Cam Ward as probably like a number 1. But I do think situations does matter, and I do think Dart will probably be better in that Tennessee Titans situation than Cam Ward. So I do think, as of right now, Dart, if we would have did a redraft, Dart probably would go 1. But either way, they need a lot of help on that Tennessee Titans offense. Now, I don't think that defense is as bad as it's performed this year, but that's a topic for another day. Now, when it comes to the number 1 pick in this draft, we got to talk about it. Do they go Ruben Bain? Do they go Arvell Reese? Now, I won't lie. Arvell Reese is very, very good. I've been seeing some mocks have him even go 1. I don't know if you can pick a safety 1 with Caleb Downs. He might arguably be the best player in this draft. We talked about it. That offense need a lot of help. Do you go Jordan Tyson? Offensive line-wise, I'm not really too high on this draft, in my opinion. This draft class, offensive line-wise, is not good. It's pretty bad, actually. Like, the interior, actually, I've heard is pretty good. But Francis, he's been free-falling for a while. Caden Proctor, he hasn't had a great year. It's been very weird, in my opinion, for offensive line. And even the tackle, I think people are saying he's a guard. And I think there's another one that's from there, and people are saying he's more so a guard. So I don't know. I'm going to just say Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain, for the most part, all year has been looked at as the number 1 draft prospect. Wow, look at him, though. He reminds me of like a Jared Verse. Jared Verse is very good as a rookie, but I don't know if that was a auto number 1 pick. I thought he was very good with power, but if he's not winning with power, he's not really going to win too much. So I don't know, but I'm going to say Ruben Bain. I do think with Simmons over there, it's not going to be all the pressure on him to get in by himself. He still got Simmons, but yeah. Then we have the Saints. Saints are picking a quarterback. It just comes down to, do they pick Ty Simpson or Fernando Mendoza? Now, Mendoza to me reminds me of Goff. Ty Simpson reminds me of Kirk Cousins. I'm going to be honest. Those are the 2 guys they remind me of. I honestly do see a little bit of Dart and Simpson a little bit in terms of the running ability. I think Dart is a better runner, but I kind of can see that a little bit too. But I think Kirk, when he was with the I guess not the Redskins, but I guess the Commanders, when he was with them, they weren't the Commanders. I don't remember that, but yeah, he ran a little bit more than he did with the Vikings or obviously the Falcons. So I think Kirk is not really a bad. I think people kind of just don't remember, like, Kirk was just not that great in big games, but outside of those big games, Kirk was pretty good. So I don't think Kirk is that disrespectful. He wasn't ever an elite quarterback, but he was always pretty good to great at times. So I think this one comes down to whichever one. Now, also another thing with the Saints is I don't know if they pick a quarterback either. Because you got to think about it. Rattler at the beginning of the year, he wasn't that bad, but they just couldn't win games with him. But this is not really that great of a team. They were very competitive against some pretty good teams as well if you're looking at them Saints games. And then you see Shug. Shug, I don't think he played as good as Rattler had played at points this year, but the last 2 games, he's shown some capabilities, I guess. He had a pretty rough end of his first game he got PT in, and in his first start, he got a win. So, I don't know. Maybe they don't pick a quarterback. I don't know how Saints fans would feel about it, but at that point, what would you pick? I think if you don't pick a quarterback, you probably pick an Arvell Reese to replace Davis. But I think Reese is going to be a guy that's going to be moved around a lot. Think of like Jalen Walker. And Jalen Walker, when he played the Patriots, he was a game wrecker. I think Arvell Reese might be the best player in this draft. So I don't think getting him at 2 is that bad of a play when you probably do need some help defensively. But I'm thinking about it as well. Kellen Moore, he's not planning on picking 2 every year because he doesn't want to be bad every year. Does he just go ahead and get his guy? But are any of these guys his guy? That is another part of the question. So I don't know. They could have got Dart last year, by the way. So I don't know. But I do think they kind of did right getting the offensive lineman. Maybe you go a quarterback again this year. I don't know. That's a little tough. I don't think either one of those guys are ever going to be elite, but they can be good. You can win with those guys with a good team around them, but they won't have really the craziest team around them either. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I might actually go with Arvell Reese for them. They have the Jets. This is a team that has to pick a quarterback, and I don't think the talent on this team is as bad as people act like. So at that point, I would just say Fernando Mendoza. I think he has the size, and I think he would just pretty much go there. Depending on, it don't really matter how you feel about Goff, Kirk combos. So yeah, I think off the size, I think you would pick Fernando before you pick a Book or Simpson. Now, also, I didn't really talk about Dante Moore. I think Dante Moore is kind of more so like when I watch him, he reminds me a little bit of JD. But if JD didn't run, now you can look at that as a negative because JD was a elite rusher coming out. But you're looking at now, JD has had injuries the last 2 years, and he's been injured a lot more this year than he was last year. So the less you run, the less likely you probably are to get injured. So you can look at it from 2 different ways. I do think the rushing ability does enhance it. Like even guys like Lamar has missed time in their career. But even guys like Joe Burrow has missed time. So it really is a balance, I would say. But I do think Dante Moore has been he's a pretty solid prospect. I actually think he has a little bit more upside than Ty Simpson and Fernando. It's just his floor is not as high as those 2 guys. I think those 2 guys are going to be pretty solid coming in, to be honest. But I digress. I also thought Mateer looked pretty good in the moments. And I think a guy like Sellers could be a guy that somebody throws a shot on because he just has a lot of talent. I don't think he's ready to start, but if you have a team or a quarterback that you don't really need to worry about that, I don't know. Now, this was one that I really wish we had the video for because me and TJB was debating this one. This was a wide receiver pick all the way because I don't think they really need O-line. I think their tackle situation is pretty much figured out. I think they're pretty straight on left and right. Quarterback, you got Jackson Dart. Running back, you got Scatterbo. Defense, maybe you need some DB. So maybe, honestly, hold on now. Let's not jump the gun. Maybe you pick Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs could be the best player in this draft as well. Safety is just not valued the way it probably should. Caleb Downs probably does go in these areas. I won't lie. But if you do want to get that other weapon, because you got to think about it. Dart right now, for the most part, every game that he's played, I think Neighbors got hurt in the first quarter or just the first half of the game, first game he started or played. I think it started. Bro, Dart has been very good without really any weapons for real. Like let's be honest. Like he's throwing to Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, like Slayton, Wendell Robinson. Like these aren't premier weapons. And then as soon as Scat got down, he still was out there doing good. Like they were beating a solid. I think the Bears are a little bit overrated. I'm not gonna lie, but they were pretty much dominating that game until he got hurt, and then he got hurt, and then Caleb goes and he kind of changed his whole tune, and the rest is history in that game. But I do think if you get a guy like Jordan Tyson on the other side of Neighbors going to come back next year. That would be a pretty good. It's interesting how they could fit together. It really does depend on what coach they get. Because I think Jordan Tyson with Neighbors is really matchup nightmare for a lot of teams because I really like Tyson. I stopped calling people Tay because Tyson is pretty much Tay. But Carnell Tate, he's kind of, my man TJB got me on the Carnell Tate wave. I don't think he's a crazy route runner the way he was trying to act like, but he's a better route runner than I gave him. He's not nearly as stiff as I thought he was, but the sheer catching ability and deep threat ability next to Neighbors is going to be very, very big time for Neighbors, in my opinion, because then you're going to be able to take advantage of Neighbors' yak ability a lot better because he's now going to have another player on his team that's a deep threat ability. And you now be able to take advantage of Neighbors' deep play ability because now you got to play two high safety almost every single time because you can't just worry about just Neighbors. You got to shade over to Carnell Tate too. But I think you would have to do the similar things with Tyson, to be honest. But I do think Tate is a more natural X where Tyson and Neighbors can really just switch around. And I haven't really liked the way that's been with BTJ and Trav this year. But I think that might be more of a Trevor issue. But I do think BTJ has not been as good this year as he was last year either. But I do think wide receiver makes some sense here. But I'm gonna actually go Caleb Downs because that defense that on the back end, if that gets improved, they have a very interesting situation. Even though Abdul Carter hasn't had the craziest statistical season, I do think that pass rush that could be a crazy pass rush for years to come if they get a real defense behind it. And then we have the Browns. The Browns are picking a quarterback, but are they? I think they pick a quarterback. I think they go with Ty Simpson. If you're a Browns fan, you got to go with the safest pick possible. Ty Simpson, to a lot of people, is the best quarterback in the draft. So I think you just got to go with a quarterback at that point. And then you have the Raiders. Now, the Raiders is an interesting one because you have your running back of the future. You have your tight end of the future. The O-line is pretty bad. I won't lie. The O-line actually is pretty bad. So do you go with Fano to get Geno more time, or do you go with a guy to replace Geno with Dante Moore? That's where it is a little tough. I'm going to actually say you go with an O-lineman and go with the best one, whether he's a tackle or a guard. It was similar conversations last year with Will Campbell. I think he can play, even if he doesn't work as a tackle, you have a really good guard. So I don't think you worry about that too much and go there. But do you want to pick a guard that high? That is the question. But their O-line been pretty bad this year, so I think you got to go and do something there. Then you have the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins fans want a quarterback. So Dante Moore. I'm pretty sure McDaniels probably gets, not McDaniels, but is his name McDaniels? I can't think of his name right now. I think he just probably gets fired because I think they actually do have a pretty good end to the season though. So if they have a pretty good end to the season, I don't know if they actually fire him. And I don't know if they pick here. But thinking about it, they just traded their edge. Maybe they pick an edge, but I don't know if Keldrick Falk is the guy. I don't think they need corner. Mansour could be the pick here. I'm gonna actually go Dante Moore though. I think that's really what Dolphins fans want. Honestly, I think that's genuinely what Dolphins fans want. And then you have the Commanders. I think the Commanders just probably take the best wide receiver available, Jordan Tyson. The thing with Terry McLaurin, especially with the way, I don't know actually though, because I do think they kind of misutilized Terry McLaurin when he plays. Even last year when he had a crazy year, they pretty much just put him on the side of the field and made him go do something. I seen something similar going. I seen like fans talking about his offense and how it kind of affected D-Hop when he was with the Cardinals. And I kind of seen a similar thing with McLaurin after seeing that. So maybe you do get Tate, have him in that role, and let McLaurin be in a more involved role, because there would be a lot of games last year where McLaurin would just not get those opportunities that he should. So I don't know. Play him in more of like the Z and slot role, because it seems like those guys get more manufactured touches, and the main X role don't really get those same touches. So maybe Tate would be the better fit here, honestly. But I'm also thinking about how they love to do the wide receiver screen. So then Jordan Tyson could be an X. He can play all around the field, in my opinion. So I think you do go with that versatility probably and go with Jordan Tyson. Then you have the Bengals. I think the Bengals just take the best defensive player available. Peter Woods. I know they trying to Henderson. I don't know why they just won't trade him for whatever value they can get. It just makes no sense to me. Like, your team is not good. Your defense isn't good, even with him. Just get some value for him, bro. In my opinion, they could go corner. They could go more Mansour, Delane. I'd probably go Peter Woods, though. That's who they say is the best available. And they just need whatever they can get defensively. And then you have the Rams. I think they just take Mansour. I think Jeremiah Love. I said this when I was talking to TGB. Jeremiah Love is a shout. Because think about their running game. It's been pretty inconsistent this year. Even though they do have Kyron. But if you get a guy like Jeremiah Love, think about what McVay does with these premier running backs. This offense will go to a different level. You didn't have Puka. You would have your running back of the future. This would be pretty big, interesting move by them. But I do think they probably do go with Mansour because they need some DBs. I think they would probably go with the DB help. Then you have the Cardinals. Cardinals picking this high don't happen too much. Maybe they go O-line. It's not a great O-line draft, but Cardinals are the type of team to kind of reach on that. Maybe they go O-line. They could also go running back with Jeremiah Love. This team just... this team don't have... I think this team is a lot better, by the way, than what the record is. They had a lot of one-score game losses where they really should have probably won some of those games, but they just didn't. Jeremiah Love makes a lot of sense to the Cardinals, in my opinion, because, you know what I'm saying, Connor coming off that injury, he's probably not going to be the same. They did just pick Trey Benson a couple years ago, but he got his chance and got injured pretty much instantly. So, I don't know, man. It's an interesting one. They could also go O-line. They could go with another wide receiver, but I don't know if you won't take with Marv. I think you would probably want Tyson and Marv. So, at that point, it is kind of interesting. Could they be a team that go for a quarterback? But all the three main quarterbacks are all gone. And by the way, as an LSU fan, Garrett Nussmeier is so bad. I just don't really. I never got the gas last year, and he was even worse this year than he was last year. So I genuinely, they gave him a defense this year. He just got worse. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, I don't really get it. To me, like, he's another one of those guys that just, when he gets pressure, he's bad. They could go Sonny Styles. This linebacker class I've heard is very, very good. So Sonny Styles, he's looked pretty good. They could go there. I'm gonna probably say this one is a little bit of a tough one. I actually would say for the Cardinals, I'm scared of going O-line for anybody right now. Could they even go corner? Low key. I know you got Will Johnson, Max Melton. Could you go for another one? Man, I feel like safety outside of Buddha could be another pick too. This one is a tough one. I think wide receiver low key is a good one, but Makai Lemon, put him in a slot with. Hey, I actually like that pick. But I actually like Kevin Concepcion, Casey Concepcion. I actually like him a lot. I actually think he might be outside of the top 3. He might be the next best guy, and he might be higher than some of those guys. To be honest, I'm gonna actually go Makai Lemon. I think he actually fits. Give Kyler an actual safety valve. Then you would have him, McBride, and Marv. I think that would work. And then you got, I think the Cowboys just take the best available edge. I don't think he's the best edge. I look, think the best edge is Cassius Howell, but he's projected the best edge. I don't know much about Keldrick Falk, so I'll go there. Then we have the Ravens. Ravens kind of get pressured, but maybe you go edge here if you're the Ravens too. 'Cause I don't think you need DBs. I think you drafted safety last year. I think you just kind of trust the process with that. You still got Kyle Hamilton, who's playing ridiculous football this year. I think your cornerback situation is actually not as bad as people act like. But maybe you do go corner. Jermod McCoy, then you got 3 real corners. You don't got to keep trying to test out that third corner and he keep getting cooked. You can go with a real third, get a real corner. And then, yeah, I think that could work. Just Matabuke comes back next year as well. I think that helps you too. Jerron McCoy might be the pick, man. That might be the pick. But also, you could go Cardinal Tate. I see a lot of Ravens fans year in, year out complain about this wide receiver position. Cardinal Tate could end up being the best wide receiver in this draft. So, there's that. But honestly, I also have heard about them having O-line issues. I don't personally see that as much unless it's like a blitz, honestly. You could go edge. You tried to go edge last year. That hasn't worked out as well as I honestly thought it would have. I'm going to actually go TJ Parker for them. And then the next 2 are guys that are putting up numbers in college, so we'll see. Minnesota. I think Minnesota take Jeremiah Love, actually. They have no running back right now. And somehow Jeremiah Love fell to the Chiefs last time. I don't know. I feel like we kind of forced it. I'm thinking about, because last time it was the Vikings, the Texans, and then it was the Chiefs. All 3 of those teams need a running back. I'm trying to really think about who in the world did we have go to the Vikings. Was it Jermod? I really don't know who we had go there. I have no clue who we had go there. We really finagled that one, though. But then we have the Texans. Texans need O-line. I think you just take the best O-lineman. But I think that's what we did with the Texans. They went O-line. I don't know what we did for the Vikings. And then Carolina, they get another wide receiver. They take it. They need outside of Tech, they have no receiving option. They're passing. You can say what you want about Bryce. I don't think he's been as good as this year as he was last year. But I do think getting rid of Adam Thielen has really negatively affected their pass game. But it hasn't negatively affected their overall season, to be fair. Because Dowdle has been a breath of fresh air for them. Even though you kind of expected Hubbard to be pretty good too this year. He hasn't been as good as you kind of expected because of Dowdle, I guess. But Ted has actually been, if you watch these games, Ted is amazing. He's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Like, he's kind of more so, like, when I was just looking at highlights, he's kind of more of what that is. Like, whatever you think of him when you look at them highlights, that's that. But when you watch the games last year and try to see how this is going to work, I kind of was being a little harsh on him. But he's actually a dominant presence on the field. They just need more threats to open it up for him a little bit, man. Like, I think, and that's going to go a long way for him. He's going to be very good in this league. Then you have the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs could take a corner. In my opinion, because this year it hasn't been that great cornerback wise, in my opinion. But you could take a safety. But I think you could take a corner here, and the corner wouldn't be too crazy. I know they got an interesting situation going on with their linebackers in terms of contracts coming up this offseason, but I think you just take Jermod McCoy. Somehow last time we had them getting that running back, Jeremiah Love, but nah, we ain't going to do that this time. All right, next we have the 49ers. 49ers just take the best available O-lineman. They need O-lineman pretty bad. So you take him. From what I've heard, Caden Proctor and the other dude was supposed to be very high, but they have not been good this year, so they're falling. So that's just what I've heard. And then we have the Browns. Who did we take for the Browns first? I'm pretty sure it was a quarterback. Yeah, took Ty Simpson. So then here, you don't really have much on this Browns team. So then I think you would probably take a wide receiver. Or do you take tight end? They love their tight ends over there with the Browns. But you already do have, you're pretty good on tight ends right now if you're the Browns. Could you? Nah. I like Judkins for them. And people was hating on that pick. Well, we took quarterback for you. Could you go? Oh, O-line has not been that great this year either. Could you go O-line to give you a little bit more? Yeah, I think O-line would make some sense. And Lomu was another guy that I seen people saying that he could play tackle or probably be moved to guard even if that doesn't work out. So I like him. And then low-key, we had a real big heated debate about the Steelers. And he really just don't like Lenore Sellers. And I get it, because I don't think Lenore Sellers at all is ready to start in the league. I think he's going to be a development piece. But you got to think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tomlin is known for having winning seasons every year. How many times is he going to have a quarterback, the talent of Lenore Sellers, at his how many times are you gonna have the ability to pick a guy this talented? It's not gonna happen too often. So I think they get a guy like him, sit him behind A-Rod a year or two. You know what I'm saying? As A-Rod career wind down, or you could go wide receiver, but I don't think all the top first round draft pick wide receivers are already gone. I think Lenore Sellers could be the pick here, man. I think that would make some sense, because how many times are you going to be able to pick a guy like Lenore Sellers if you're the Steelers? I do think Steelers has his issues for sure, but you can't teach that arm, and you can't teach that athleticism, and you can't teach that ability to avoid sacks in the pocket. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I do think his pocket navigation is questionable, but he's impossible to take down in the pocket. So it's like, it's hand in hand. So I think Sellers, if he's honed in, he could be a guy that goes to the Steelers and it'd be good. But I've heard about some Steelers fans talking about Will Howard as like their real project guy. But come on, man. Howard was picked in like the fourth, fifth, or sixth round. Like, come on, bro. That's not having you pass up on a guy like Lenore Sellers. So, like, even then, like, Will Howard is not projected to start next year. You're probably trying to have him sit too. And actually, is A-Rod only on a 1-year contract, actually? I don't know. So then maybe you want to get him some wide receiver talent too. I may have talked myself out of it. I might have talked myself out of it. But defense, I don't think you really need much. Like, maybe you need a linebacker, so you go with Sonny Styles, you know what I'm saying? But you just got Peyton Wilson. You just got Patrick Queen in the free agency. I don't think it's not going to be a spot. Like, Patrick Queen, maybe you cut him because he hasn't been that good this year, but I'm pretty sure you probably keep him. I don't know. They've been already picking up a lot of, like, scraps from other teams. Like, they got, like, 4 players off the Patriots that we've cut. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm a stand on it, man. I think that this team, they need a guy that's super talented at quarterback, because you got to think about it. This is a team that has to compete with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow every year. Now, if Joe Burrow is injured, if Lamar is injured, then, you know what I'm saying, like this year, they can probably find a way to still get win the division. But for the most part, it's not going to happen every year. So I would just try to get somebody talented. Now, maybe you pick him and Will Howard still outplays him. That'll be fine. You can trade a guy like Lenore Sellers that you put in first round, because it may not be that many people that give you a first round pick for it. But I just don't think you're going to get that many opportunities to pick a guy that talented. But who else would you even pick? Sonny Styles? Sonny Styles makes a lot of sense. Won't lie. I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. That may be a crazy pick, but I'm doing it. Then we got the Cowboys. I don't remember who we went for the Cowboys earlier. I think we went edge there. I think we low-key go edge again, but they already have Ezraku, however you say bro name. And I picked the edge earlier with Kelvin Falk. Maybe you go Sonny Styles here, have him on the other side of bro. You also could go Avion Terrell, because their cornerback position is pretty bad, even though that's like their most hyped position, damn near on the team. Well, definitely defensively. I'm going to actually go Sonny Styles. I'm going to go Sonny Styles. I actually like one of their linebackers, but outside of that, it's not much going on. So, yeah. Then you have the Bears. I think the Bears just take the best available edge. I think Cassius Howell is the best available edge, but David Belly has pretty good numbers too, so I guess we'll go there. I don't know much about him, but Cassius Howell actually has good numbers, and if you watch him, he looks really good. So, I don't know. And then we have the Bills. The Bills need wide receivers. I think Casey Concepcion would be very, very good for them. I think he would be very, very good for them, to be honest. But Chris Brazzell will actually be very good for them, too. He has the size, and he has the deep threat ability, to be honest. I think he would be pretty good for them. Jacoby Lane would kind of just be a little bit of this, what they already have with, what's that wide receiver name that they picked a couple years ago? Keon Coleman? Yeah, Jacoby Lane would just kind of be a little bit, he would just be like another Keon Coleman, to be honest. So I don't really agree with that pick. But he probably has more sure hands. Like Keon Coleman, hands are kind of inconsistent, but he catches some crazy balls, but he'll drop some easy stuff. Is really what I mean, I guess, there. You don't really need another cornerback, but could you go another cornerback? You definitely don't need O-line. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even hearing that one. When it comes to the Bills, this is a little bit of a tougher one. You definitely go wide receiver. It just comes down to which one do I pick for y'all. Do I go Brazzell? Do I go KC? Could you trade this pick low-key? You probably trade back, because I don't think any of these guys are really top 23. I like Casey Concepcion, but I also like Chris Brazzell. And I think Chris Brazzell is like This is also consensus, so maybe not. I'm gonna go Chris Brazzell for them though. And then we have the Buccaneers. Buccaneers definitely don't need another. They need an edge, so I'm gonna actually go Cassius Howard for them. That would be a really good pick for them. And then we have the. What in the world do you pick for the Lions? Oh, you can go corner. Yeah, get them another corner. Get them another DB. Chargers. They didn't go tight end last year, but I actually like their tight end that they have this year. So, DJ need a tight end. Their little Ricky tight end. He's been pretty good for them. I think you go interior O-line. Like, that interior O-line has been pretty shaky this year. Even though you had some pretty solid pickers, I thought. But they haven't been that great for them. And a lot of their O-line overall just been in and out the lineup. Just go ahead and get the boy from Penn State. And I heard the interior O-line is actually the strength of the O-line draft this year. And then you have the Rams again. I think I picked a corner for the Rams. Yeah, I picked... Oh, Mansour Delane is actually a great pick for y'all. Rams, could you go with another tight end from Oregon? Get his teammate? The higher projected guy? No? Now, if I didn't go Sellers, I probably would have went Sellers here. I'm not a Gary Nussmeier fan, to be honest. John Mateer I actually do like. But since he got injured, he has not been as good. So that's a tougher one. That's a tougher sell for me. Could I go linebacker with CJ Allen? I don't really think they need D-line. So then could I go Colton Hood? Yeah, I think I just go DB, bro. They need DB. They need DB, right? Maybe it's... Nah. Could I go linebacker? Yeah, I think I go CJ Allen, to be honest. I think I go best available. I don't think we reach too hard. And then we have the Broncos. People was gassing the Evan Ingram pickup. That's been okay. The Patriots have the because nobody's played. They had that Thursday night game, so nobody's played. Okay. But yeah, Denver Broncos. This could be where he goes. If he goes first round, I don't really know too many teams that really would take him. This could be where he goes, honestly. Yeah, I mean, they kind of need wide receiver, but they kind of don't. They kind of do, though. But I don't think these are the guys they take. I actually like Chris Bell from what I've seen. I'm gonna go tight end though. We'll go tight end. Seahawks, in my opinion. This is an interesting one. You just traded for a wide receiver. Could you go with another corner? I feel like your DB position pretty strong. At that point, you probably go edge, but I feel like you don't really need an edge in this scheme, bro. I feel like your front three is so good that you can just generate pressure with the way that McDonald just had the play designs, play calling, scheme. You're going to generate pressure with that. Could you go running back, man? This running game has been an issue. Maybe you keep going O-lineman, because you did that really well last year. Maybe you keep going O-lineman to strengthen that. You know, I feel like Casey Concepcion would be a really good pick for them, honestly. Probably go edge though, just to get them some more talent on the edge over there. Then the Jets. I think the Jets probably wanted him. I'll probably go edge for the. Maybe you go corner because you did just trade Sauce. Yeah, I'm gonna go Colton Hood. Just traded Sauce. You gotta go against Drake Maye. You gotta go against Josh Allen. Yeah, probably go there. Okay, then we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I ain't gonna lie, now a team that could have really took this, man. I mean, hey, Lenore Sellers to the Eagles. That might be, that actually makes some sense. Sit behind Hurts, cause he definitely need more than 1 year of development. That actually makes some sense, man. I ain't gonna lie, cause this team don't need nothing. They just picked up an edge at the trade deadline. I like Phillips. Maybe you need safety. Maybe another corner would help. Maybe you do go edge. Definitely don't need another wide receiver. Definitely don't need another running back. Maybe you get tight end because bro is getting older, but all these guys are not projected high. O-line, maybe you go interior. Interior O-line ain't been as good this year as last year. Especially with the people that you did lose. Maybe you go another interior guy defensively with the loss of Milton Williams. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you go there. Linebacker, you're straight. I don't really. You got too many linebackers. If anything, you playing your second best linebacker don't play enough. He really like I don't know why, but y'all got him behind your third best one. This is a tough one, man. A team like this they can do whatever they want. Like this team is stacked, bro. So this team is stacked. Like this is like a greed that the Packers was having where they was picking A-Rod and they still had Brett Favre, and then they was picking J Love when they still had A-Rod. Like this team don't really need nothing. Then you can just pick a quarterback to have for the future. You know what I'm saying? You already having all these gripes with your wide receivers with the passing game. Maybe you go get a quarterback to sit behind them. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you want to try something new every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Just to give people some food or some water. I don't know. I'm looking at these, keeping it a whole stack. I'ma probably say I'd probably say LT. Just get you some more edge depth. And then the Patriots played 3-4. I think they would probably go edge or wide receiver. I like KC Concepcion a lot. I just don't know. Like, Booty, it depends on what's going on with Diggs. I'm pretty sure Diggs stays his time with the Patriots. Pop has been pretty solid. Kyle Williams. So you got a core 4 wide receivers. A lot of fans like Efton Chisholm. Mac Hollins, can't forget him. He's had a pretty solid year. He's going to have another year next year. I like Casey Concepcion just joining that wide receiver room, to be honest. And just kind of maybe you cut Efton Chisholm or something. I don't know. I actually didn't. I liked him a little bit in preseason, but I mean, I like Casey Concepcion a lot. He can be like your punt returner, kick returner, while he's trying to earn his minutes. He's a great route runner, great speed. You know what I'm saying? Deep threat, something that Drake May loves. He's a little smaller though, so I don't know. That is an interesting one. But I actually did like Jacoby Lane. Personally, I did like him. It was somebody else we was looking at that I liked, honestly. If I'm honest, I think Nick Harbaugh is actually gonna go kind of high because when he tests with his size, he's probably gonna end up going first round. Being real, like he's 6'5", like 250. He's gonna be the fastest player at the combine. So yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Not gonna lie. I don't know if he's even gonna test that well in the 40 because he's not like a acceleration person. He's like when they do those next gen stats, he's gonna have a crazy next gen stat speed. But I don't know if he's gonna have like a 4.2. I don't think he's gonna break the 40 record or nothing. But I think he's a guy kind of like DK where he has a crazy top speed. I think DK only ran like a 4.3. He probably runs something similar to DK. So I don't know. But yeah. And he's 2 inches taller and weighs more than DK. So Patriots, honestly, I would love a linebacker. But we got solid linebacker. I don't know if we have solid linebacker depth, honestly. Tavai, he hasn't been as good as we expected. Spillane's been pretty good lately. I like Gibbons. They love Ellis. Ellis is very, very bad. So in a strong linebacker draft, getting a linebacker behind that deep, edge. We need edge pretty bad though. But I ain't gonna lie, with Milton Williams being out, I heard that we bringing up my man that I liked out of LSU last year. We gonna give him PT. So I really hope he actually get a chance because Elijah Ponders looked really good in the chances he's gotten as well. And some of them backup, them young DTs pretty good too. So I'm interested to see what it's gonna look like this week. I'm gonna keep being Andy on the IR. He's on the IR, so he's gonna miss a couple games. So I'm interested to see what it's gonna look like. We have some pretty big games coming up too, so yeah. I do think like O-line has been better, but we can improve it. Maybe I think getting a right tackle. I think right tackle might be more important than left tackle for Drake because Drake likes rolling out to the right. So getting a right tackle is important, but I heard this tackle draft is not that good. So maybe you get another interior guy that can play left guard so that our left guard can move to center because our center right now is really good, but he's older. He's not really our future guy. We picked a guy to be our center last year, but he's been playing left guard. He hasn't been that great. He's been getting better as time is going on. I'll give him that, but he's not been that great at left guard. He's a center. And he's going to be very good when he plays center. So I can't wait to see that. But maybe we get a left guard with this pick. Left guard, edge, linebacker, wide receiver. I'm not too mad at those picks, honestly. Oh, a safety, low key. A safety would be a great pick. A safety would be a great pick too. Maybe even a young tight end, but not first round. Not first round. Not first round. Nah, not first round. I like Casey. Out of all these guys, Casey Conception is the one I know the most about. Being honest, I'm gonna actually go with the Anthony Hill Jr. pick though, and that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, that's our first NFL mock draft of the year. Full first round mock. Y'all want more of these? Make sure to like the video, man. Hope you like the video. Subscribe if you're new, man. Further ado, man. It's your boy Fitz. I'm out there, man.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!